been an incredibly emotional and difficult couple of days for Taji Walsh, who just wants to know where her granddaughter, Nalani Johnson, is.
I just float through my day. I don't know. I try not to think, because that takes me to a place where I don't really want to go.
The toddler disappeared Saturday evening after her dad got out of a car driven by this woman, Sharina Nancy, on Bryant Drive in Penn Hills. According to the criminal complaint, when he went to get Nalani out of her car seat, Nancy took off with her still inside the car. An Amber Alert went out, and 2.5 hours later, Nancy was pulled over on Rodi Road in Penn Hills and arrested. But Nalani and the car seat were nowhere to be found. According to court paperwork, Nancy told investigators she sold the toddler for $10,000, something she claimed was set up by Nalani's father. He spoke only to Channel 11 today.
Everybody's losing sleep over this. Money's being put towards this as a reward for her return safely. We just want our baby back home.
Nancy claims she gave the toddler to two women in a silver SUV with out-of-state plates on the side of the road, but investigators have found no evidence of the SUV or the transfer. Nalani's grandmother and father aren't commenting on the investigation, but are actively searching for their child.
She's a sweet girl. I think of her laugh, and she'd run around from you, and we just want her to come back home.
Aaron Martin, Channel 11 News.
Okay, shout out to Melanated Magic TV for sending me this story. The thing is, I think I actually heard about this story in passing because I recognized the picture of the little girl. And I do hope that they find her and that she's safe and wherever she may be. And that's because that's scary. Like, we hear about human trafficking stories all the time, and they don't care how old the child is. Like, the child could be her age, maybe even younger, to all the way to 17 years of age as far as minors go, and they do not care. And they said she was sold for $10,000. Whoever is in the prisons, they need to get a hold of this bitch. And I really do mean literally and figuratively get a hold of her, because she ain't shit. I'm gonna just go flat out say it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and read this article. It says a woman is in custody and a toddler is missing from Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, after the child's father said a rideshare driver abducted his daughter on Saturday evening, according to police documents in a news release. Paul Johnson said he was riding in a car with Lyft and Uber stickers with his daughter and a friend, according to a criminal complaint filed by the Allegheny County Police. First off, I don't know if he couldn't have been the Uber driver. He wasn't. He was just riding, and his daughter was in the back seat. And when he got out to get his daughter, that's when the driver just took off. Let's see. This is Johnson said when he got out of the car and went to get his daughter out of the car seat, the driver drove off with the toddler in the back. The complaint didn't identify the child, but a police news release says she is named Nalani. Johnson told detectives he tried calling the driver's cell phone multiple times, but she never picked up. So he called 911 around 5 p.m. Police arrested driver Sharina Nancy, age 25, in the vehicle during a traffic stop around 7:30 p.m., but did not find the child inside. And see, that was enough time for her to I don't want to say get rid of, but make the transaction, apparently. Because you got to think, that's a 2.5 hour gap. Anything can happen in 2.5 hours. According to the complaint, Nancy told detectives that Johnson sold the child to an individual for $10,000 and asked her to complete the drop-off. So now she's saying that the dad has something to do with the transaction of the child. How true that is, I'm not entirely sure. Nancy said he showed her a photo of a black woman she was supposed to meet and asked her to drive the toddler 20 minutes from a gas station in Monroeville along U.S. Route 22 to meet the woman, the complaint says. Nancy said she was told the woman would then flag her down and Nancy was to turn over the toddler. Nancy told detectives she encountered a silver SUV with out-of-state plates parked on the side of the road and did as she had been instructed, passing the toddler in the car seat over to a woman standing next to the car and then driving off. Nancy then told police she also saw a second woman inside the SUV. Nancy said that she drove around, smoked cigarettes, and talked on the phone with her husband. Nancy, who was being held without bail at the Allegheny County Jail, was arraigned on Monday after being charged with kidnapping of a minor, interference with custody of children, and concealment of whereabouts of a child. Her preliminary hearing is scheduled for September 16th. CNN was unable to identify or reach an attorney for Nancy. Nalani's grandmother, Taji Walsh, told CNN that Nancy's account of the events is not true. Her son, whom she calls PJ, is Nalani's father. If the police felt that PJ was in any way involved, he wouldn't be walking freely. He'd be locked up somewhere like she is. The police press release said Nalani is 2 years old, but the website for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children is missingkids.org. Says she's 23 months old with her second birthday on September 15th. She's about 3 feet tall and weighs about 30 pounds with black hair and brown eyes, according to missingkids.org. It says representatives of Uber did not immediately respond to CNN's request for comment. Dana Davis, a communications manager for Lyft, told CNN that while this incident did not happen on the Lyft platform, they have banned Nancy from driving with Lyft, adding that the allegations were deeply disturbing. Now, listening to all of that, and then how the woman tried to throw the father into it, I, for one, do not believe that at all. She just needed to find a way to try to get an alibi worked out for herself, to try to not have all the blame fall on top of her. So she put it onto the guy. And see, from the looks of it, it sounds to me like this woman may not have known that he was the father. For all you know, he could have had a child around, and it could have been a friend of a family member, maybe a niece, or maybe a baby cousin. He didn't, but then again, maybe she did say, oh, that possibly could be, the father. But the fact of the matter is, this woman drove off with the child in the car, and she had to have known the child was in the car, because he had the car seat and had to put the car seat in the back of the car before he got into the car. And she drove off, and now this child is missing. They said for $10,000. That is fucked up. But I really do hope that they find this child before too many more transactions happen. Because, too many happen, then it's going to be a while before they end up finding the child. Hopefully the child is still in the vicinity, and hopefully even more still in the state. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. But I do have a serious question. Do you think that the dad is involved? Yes or no? And you can explain why if you feel the need to. Okay, so I had to come back and throw this in here. Remember how I said that it was probably going to be more additional information that was going to come out by the time I uploaded this video? And it turns out it was. And unfortunately, it is sad news. So Nalani Johnson was found, but she was found deceased. The little girl is in situation, and the woman that's responsible for this definitely deserves and I do mean everything that comes her way. Her name was Sharina Nancy. She deserves everything that comes her way. Now, I'm also going to add in some additional information, because this article that I'm looking at that was sent to me also has added some things in there that was not specified in the original story. Now, in the original story, it just said that the father got into this car with this woman because she was like, I guess, like a Uber driver or whoever she was. But I'm learning now that it said that the father and this Sharina Nancy woman actually were in a brief relationship. So apparently they knew each other. I'm gonna go ahead and read this article. It says I'm gonna skip down a little bit. It says Paul Johnson, who was the father, said he was riding in a car with Lyft and Uber stickers with his daughter and two friends, according to a criminal complaint. The driver of the car was Sharina Nancy, a woman with whom Johnson was in the beginning of an intermittent romantic relationship with, Allegheny County Police Superintendent Coleman McDonough said at a press conference Tuesday. The couple became acquainted over social media in the past few months and spent several hours together with Johnson's daughter and another friend on Saturday before an argument ensued while the woman was driving, Madonna said. While police did not elaborate the details of the argument, Madonna said it was significant enough that Johnson and his other friend decided to exit the car. Johnson said that when he got out of the car and went to get his daughter out of the car seat, the driver drove away with the toddler. It said McDonald was joined at Tuesday's press conference by Taji Walsh, Nalani's grandmother, and FBI special agent in charge, Chad Yarborough. Authorities and Nalani's family members were asking the public to contact them with tips. It says Johnson told detectives he tried calling their driver's cell phone multiple times, but she never picked up. So that's the additional information. So they knew each other. It said that they met over social media. They were talking for several months. So it's not like they were complete strangers. Now, as True Royal Family says, the plot thickens even more. But it sounds to me like he had got into an argument with her. She must have got upset and she drove off with his child. And the transaction happened between these other people. And now the child is dead. I said, I didn't want to think the worst. When I heard about this, it would have been a miracle if she was found alive, but I'm not surprised that she was found deceased either. I mean, they did say that she was sold for $10,000. Like, that is just mind-boggling to say the least. But now that they're gonna now come down on him a little bit because he knew her. They weren't strangers. I thought they were complete strangers, but they said a relationship. So yeah, y'all let me know what else y'all think about this down in the comments. Rest in peace to this little girl. My condolences go out to her family. You know, it's sad. It really is. Every party that's involved with this definitely deserves the most heinous punishment they can possibly get. Okay, this is going to be the last piece that I add to this, and it's like I keep finding more additional stuff out about this before the video actually gets uploaded. So I actually found out that the little girl, Nalani Johnson, was actually found. Her body was found in Indiana. Mind you, she was kidnapped in Pennsylvania, which means this bitch, wherever she took her, the little girl somehow ended across not one, but 2 state lines, because Ohio is next door to PA and Indiana is next door to Ohio. And that's jigsaw punishment to her. And I have the perfect one in mind. And I have never spoken this vulgar about a woman on my channel until now, but this bitch is not a woman. So I feel like I'm valid with what I'm about to say. If it was up to me, what I would do to her is I would find something that reminds me of a glue gun, fill it with acid, shoot it so far up her cooch that it crawls up through her entire body and oozes out of her eye sockets.